Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. We're about to begin the prayer and the blowing of the shofar. Face the east. The blowing of the shofar. Hallelujah.
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 The blessing of Shabbat. Repeat the Hebrew only. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that give us the Shabbat in peace. Barak Yahweh.
Barak Yahweh.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh.
How honor for Nawa.
Lawal Talanaw.
HaShabbat.
HaShabbat.
Bashalom.
Bashalom.
Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that give us the law. Barak Yahweh.
Barak Yahweh.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh.
How honor for Nawa.
Lawal Talanaw.
How Torah.
HaTorah.
Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that give us the light to see. Barak Yahweh.
Barak Yahweh.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh.
How honor for Nawa.
Lawal Talanaw.
How war.
Ahawar.
Laka'ah.
Lakwa'ah.
Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that give us the ram's horn to call the people. Barak Yahweh.
Barak Yahweh.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh.
How honor for Nawa.
Ahawal Talanaw.
How war.
Ahawar.
Hayo.
Hayo.
Koran.
Koran.
Lakra'ah.
Lakwa'ah.
Ha'ain.
Ha'ai.
Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barak Yahweh.
Barak Yahweh.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh.
How honor for Nawa.
Ahawal Talanaw.
Hashaman.
Hashaman.
Zayaf.
Zayaf.
Lamashak.
Lamashak.
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala.
Bahashem.
Bahashem.
Amashiach.
Amashiach.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh.
For water.
The water.
From Yad.
Damyad.
Aman.
Aman.
Psalms 92. The blessing of Shabbat. In the English.
The book of Psalms, chapter 92 and verse 1. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Most High, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night. Upon the instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Most High, have made me glad through thy works. I will triumph in the works of thy hands, O Most High. How great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Most High, art Most High forevermore. For lo, thy enemies, O Most High, for lo, thy enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eyes also shall see my desire upon my enemies, and my ears shall hear my desire upon the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like a palm tree, he shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Most High shall flourish in the course of our power. They shall still bring fruits in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing, to show that the Most High is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh, the word of Damyad, Aman.
Hallelujah.
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 Who's the power?
Yahweh's the power.
Who's the power?
Yahweh's the power.
Bahashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Bahashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Psalms 121, the blessing of Shabbat. In the English.
The book of Psalms, chapter 121, and verse 1. I will lift up my eyes upon the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Most High, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Most High is thy keeper. The Most High is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Most High shall preserve thy foot from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Most High shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. By Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua, the Wadat Amyad, Amen.
Hallelujah.
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 Darun Palau, Lashon Korash. Repeat the Hebrew.
God. Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kodash.
Korash.
Aya.
Haya.
Shemka.
Shamka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malafuaka.
Malakwethka.
Taba'a.
Taba'a.
Batazaika.
Saika.
Aya.
Haya.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Baharakaza.
Baratza.
Kawa.
Haiwa.
Haya.
Haya.
Bashemayim.
Bashmayim.
Latananawa.
Thanawa.
Lacham.
Laham.
Ko.
Ho.
Yowam.
Lawam.
Wasalaknawa.
Salaknawa.
Kabanapnawa.
Kabwafinawa.
Kazalaknawa.
Salaknawa.
Kabanafnawa.
Kabwafinawa.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Tabainawa.
Sabiyanawa.
Basaiwan.
Basaiwan.
Obo.
Abo.
Awashinawa.
Awashinawa.
Manyan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Rai.
Kaya.
Haya.
Laka.
Laka.
Hamalakwaf.
Malakwa.
Walaala.
Ba'ala.
Batai Pairaf.
Paipa Rab.
Laiwalamyam.
Lalanyam.
Bahashem.
Ba'ashem.
Amashiach.
Masiyah.
Yahushua.
Awashai.
The water.
The water.
Damyad.
Tamyad.
Aman.
Aman. The book of St. Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive men not their trespasses, now will our Father forgive your trespasses. Abana Yahweh Bahashem HaMashiach Yahushua, the water from Yad, Aman.
Aman.
All praise and power go to the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem HaMashiach Yahushua. We thank you, Yahweh, for allowing us to gather together, especially in these last days where things are getting harder and not easier. But it's for us, each and one of us as Israelites to understand that as we want the kingdom, as we want to get closer to being delivered from our oppression, things will become far more uncomfortable here in Babylon. But I pray to Yahweh that you may forgive us for any transgressions and sins that we have committed. And I pray unto Yahweh that you may make us clean and prepared to be able to stand and be presented in thy sight, O Yahweh. I pray unto Yahweh that you may send a healing spirit unto all the brothers and sisters across the four corners of earth that are raising up their righteous hands to pray to thee, O Yahweh. I pray unto Yahweh that you may bring back a righteous spirit to bring them back into their heritage and their cultures and their laws, O Yahweh. Abana Yahweh Bahashem HaMashiach Yahushua, Thawara Famyan, Aman.
Aman.
You may be seated. What's going on, Benjamin? Everything well? Looking good, like he was shut up. I'm ready. Shalom, shalom, nation of Israel. All praise to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for surely his mercy endureth forever. Shalom, Israel. Shalom. Shalom. So, I'm going to get Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. Let's start this up. As we always been doing here at V-Light Design, every Friday at between either 8 to 8:30, we start our Friday history class. Hallelujah for that. So that we may be able to go into the history. This is a very important day. This is a very important time that we're going into the history, because this is the time we're in the month where now so-called black people want to remember the history. It's supposed to be Black History Month. This is the one month where black people actually want to take the time to go into their history. But how much due diligence are they really doing? When you go to school, they don't teach you about Nat Turner. They don't really teach you about Malcolm X. They don't really teach you about any of our people that was actually about what would you call Black Revolution.
Come on.
And the most pivotal, the most important person they should have taught you about was Christ. Christ was a Black revolutionist. Moses was a Black revolutionist. Right? Give me Colossians 3:17.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the other one, Yahushua, giving thanks to Elohim and the Father by him.
So whatever we do, we have to give all praises and power to the Most High in the name of his anointed Son, Amasiach Yahushua, who the world so ignorant called Jesus Christ, a black man in the scriptures. Right? So as everyone's went their whole year forgetting about the history, just, going on the motion, going on the feelings, this is the month where they actually want to start remembering. What are we going to do? So go back into Martin Luther King. I think I spent a lifetime already learning about Martin Luther King.
Gone.
Right? This is the time for our people to actually go into these scriptures and actually be connected to your actual ancestors, your actual history. Because when we go to school, majority of the time we'll just be connected back to slavery. And then what happened before slavery? Well, Africa, of course. Who was in Africa? Where? Africa. South, north, east, west? I don't know. Africa. And that's crazy. Because the Most High teaches in Daniel, he said that in the last days, knowledge is going to increase. This is going to be the time for our people to start building that connection. That connection is going to start beginning to build. That you're going to be able to see the connection between you and these people that's being mentioned in his Bible. The same Bible that you saw in the Christian church for your whole life. You're going to start seeing there's not much difference between Solomon and the so-called African Americans today. There's not a lot of difference between the way Moses and Jeremiah and Ezekiel, the way they thought and the way they moved. There's not a lot of difference between them and Haitians. How about John the Baptist and our modern day John Baptiste? There ain't gonna be no difference between these guys. But these threads, these blinds that's been over your eyes for this long, it's coming apart because we're living in those days. But let's get started in 2 Chronicles 23. Let's get into this history. The Shalom Nation of Israel, all praise to the Most High. If you get a chance, put a like in the chat. Put a like on the video. And put a comment on the video. And share the video. How about that? Make it easier for Israelites to find the video. Right? Go ahead.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 23 and verse 3. And all the congregation made a covenant with the king in the house of Yahweh. And he said unto them, Behold, the king's son shall reign, as the Most High have said.
Wait, hold on. You're in 2 Chronicles 23 and 3?
Yeah.
23 and, start from verse 1. So like, yeah.
Verse 1?
Yeah.
All right. The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 23 and verse 1. And in the 7th year, Jehoiada strengthened himself and took the captains of 100s, Azrael, the son of Jehoram, and Ishmael, the son of Jehoshua, and Azrael, the son of Obed, and Manasseh, the son of Adiah, and Elishaphat, the son of Zidara, into covenant with him. And they went.
So the first person that's going to play a very important role in this as we go further into these chapters is the first person that's mentioned in this verse, and that's Jehoiada. Who is Jehoiada? Jehoiada was a priest to the nation of Israel at this time. He possibly could have been the high priest. He possibly could have been a chief priest. But it never really mentions him as a high priest. But it mentions him having control over all the house of Aaron when it came to the priesthood. So he's possibly could have been a high priest at the time, most likely. But when you go further in the chapters, it mentioned as a chief priest. But when it comes to all the priests during that time, they were all coming to him for authority. So it's most likely he could have been the high priest, just being called chief. So, but continue.
Verse 2. And they went out, and it's Salakia, and they went about in Judah and gathered the Levites of all the cities of Judah and the chiefs of the fathers of Israel, and they came to Jerusalem.
So let's do a little backtrack before we continue. What's the context of what's going on? Give me 2 Chronicles 22. 2 Chronicles 22 and 10. Let's get a little context of what's going on right now. Context.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 22, and verse 10. And when Adaliah, the mother of
Adhaliah,
the mother of Uzziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal of the house of Judah.
So what's going on? This is Ahaziah. Ahaziah was reigning over the children of Israel. Ahaziah was put to death. He was put to death by a man named Jehu. Jehu put him to death because the Lord gave him a task and a covenant, promising him the kingdom of, promising him the throne of northern kingdom, as long as he slayed all the sons of Ahab, slayed Ahab's wife, and slay all Ahab's relatives. Now, why Ahaziah was put to death? It's because Ahaziah was a relative of Ahab. He was actually his nephew, because his mother, Ahaziah's mother, was actually Ahab's sister, and her father was Omri. So they both shared the same father, and they most likely shared the same mother. So when Ahaziah went up to northern kingdom to go visit Ahab's son, who was ruling at the time, he got basically what's that verse? What's that saying? He basically got ambushed. There you go. He got ambushed by Jehu and his men, and he got put to death. So this is where the narrative of the stories continue on. This is his mother, and this is what she decided to do after he got put to death. And because really, when he was reigning, she was controlling his the things that he was doing anyway. But when he got put to death, this wicked, and I love my Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters, but this wicked Hispanic woman, this evil Hispanic woman, because her father was Omri. Omri was most likely of Manasseh or Ephraim. Most likely Manasseh or Ephraim. So he was most likely a Puerto Rican today. This evil Hispanic woman, after her son died, who she was using as a puppet to rule over Israel, she began to kill all his sons, her grandsons, who could succeed the throne, so that she could be able to maintain the power. This evil Hispanic woman. Read this verse again.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 22, and verse 10. But when Adaliah, the mother of Uzziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal of the house of Judah.
Right, and this remind me, and I remember first reading this. This remind me of this old saying called "Ambition has no limit." Ambition has no limit, because what you want, if you want it, you're not gonna let anything stop you from getting it. Right? And what this woman wanted was power. What this woman wanted was authority over the children of Israel. And this is the reason why it's so adamant that Jehoiada said something in 2 Chronicles 23 and 3. Go ahead. 2 Chronicles chapter 23. You had a statement? Go ahead. Where's the mic? You got a mic? Go ahead. Oh, ambition has no limit. Ambition has no limit. It's kind of like it's paralleled with the other saying by any means necessary. There you go. By any means necessary. Go ahead. 2 Chronicles. Where you left off in verse 2? You can read verse 2 into verse 3. Go ahead.
All right. The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 23, and verse 2. And they went about in Judah and gathered the Levites out of all the cities of Judah, and the chief of the fathers of Israel, and they came to Jerusalem. And all the congregation made a covenant with the king in the house of Yahweh. And he said unto them, Behold, the king's son shall reign, as the Most High have said, and of the sons of David.
So like, yeah, where are you?
Starting on verse 4.
You see those questions, right? The reason why I point out nationality is because I'm making a parallel. I'm bringing the scriptures to life by making a parallel between black and Hispanics and who they are and their identity according to the scriptures as Israelites. For a long time, we was in the Christian church. There was no parallel. There was no tie-in. There was no trying to tie you in with the people in the scriptures at all, because that was the tool that was used to destroy us. Just keep us believing that the Bible is just fairy tales. It's a book of make-believe. So the reason why I would sometimes mention, when it comes to Levites, I'll call them Haitians. When it comes to the Benjamites, I'll call them West Indians. The reason why I do that so that black and Hispanic people can finally realize that these words right here are their ancestors. These are their people, that they can have a connection between that. But you asked a very interesting question before I continue verse 3. You asked where we're located. We're located at 2937 Westboro Boulevard, and we have this class every Friday at 8 p.m. But go ahead and read verse 3.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 23, and verse 3.
And
all the congregation made a covenant with the king in the house of Yahweh. And he said unto them, Behold, the king's son shall reign, as the Most High have said, of the sons of David.
Wait, what's that last part? As the Most High what?
As the Most High have said, of the sons of David.
Of the sons of who?
Of the sons of David.
Of the sons of David. This is why Jehoiada emphasized on this. It's because why? This woman thought just because, one, we have to understand her character. At Halia, first, she was of noble born. She was of nobility. Her father was king over northern kingdom. Her father was King Omri. Her brother Ahab ruled over northern kingdom. So her father was a king. Her brother is a king. She married a king. She married Jehoshaphat of Judah. And then her son became king. So she's been surrounded and raised around total nobility her life. So when she killed all the seeds, when she killed almost all her own son's children that could succeed and take the throne of David, the sons, this was basically her opportunity to grab the throne by force, right? So now you can continue. This is the reason why Jehoiada emphasized in verse 3, as the Most High have said, of the sons of David, right? Let's get a precept. Give me Sirach chapter 45, verse 25. As the Most High have said, the sons of David, right? Let's get a
45. 45 and 45?
Mm-hmm. Sirach chapter 45, verse 25.
The book of Sirach, chapter 45 and verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
According to the covenant made with David, son of Jesse, of the tribe of Judah, that the inheritance of the king should be to his prosperity.
His what?
His prosperity.
His who?
His prosperity.
His prosperity. So that the throne would be passed on to his prosperity. As David being the man, all his sons that came after him would have the claim for his throne, which came from first Solomon, then Rehoboam, then Abijah, and going onward, right? So now you have this wicked woman. She's trying to kill all this. She killed almost all the sons, so she can take the throne for herself. But this is why Jehoiada emphasized this, because this is David's throne for David's sons, right? Now you can go back to verse 4. 2 Chronicles 23, verse 4.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 23, and verse 4. This is the thing that ye shall do. A third part of you entering on the Sabbath of the priests and of the Levites shall be porters of the doors.
So we went over this before. Porters are like guards, right? Right? Keep going.
And a third part shall be at the king's house, and a third part at the gate of the foundation, and all the people shall be in the courts of the house of the Most High.
A valuable detail that I left out is that when it comes to Jehoiada's wife, she protected and she saved one of the sons of Ahaziah. She protected and saved one of his children. It was a young baby named Joash. She saved him and brought him to her husband Jehoiada, the priest. And when he took him, he brought him to the house of the Lord, and he raised him until he was at least up to the age of 7. And that's when he began the plan to establish him as king. It was a conspiracy. Because for 7 years, Athaliah has been ruling over Israel on the throne by force. Right? So, you can keep going. So this is the reason why when you keep continuing these verses, you're going to see that he's putting these Levites, these guards, to be at the king's house. Put these guards at the gates of his house. Put these Levites and these guards to be at the gates of the house of the Lord. Because this is where the king's son is, Joash. Right? But let's keep going. Still like it.
2 Chronicles chapter 23 and verse 6. But let none come into the house of the Most High, save the priests, and they that minister of the Levites, they shall go in, for they are holy. But all the people shall keep the watch of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And the Levites shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapon in his hand. And whosoever else cometh into the house, he shall be put to death. But be ye with the king when he cometh in, and when he goeth out.
So this reminds me of what? Secret Service. It's like they used to have. They still have this. They have like the Secret Service that follows the president. This is what Jehoiada is establishing for Joash, because Joash is in a very, very delicate situation right now. He's 7 years old. He's a child. And this woman is sitting on the throne. She has all types of resources. If she finds out that this man is still alive, this young child, this man who can take the throne from her, she would exhaust every resource she can use to make sure this man is put to death. This is why they're putting all these soldiers and these guards at every house, every place that Joash is going to be at. His house, following himself, and at the house of the Lord. Right? Keep going.
Verse 8. So the Levites and all Judah did according to all things that Jehoiada the priest had commanded, and took every man his men that were to come in on the Sabbath with them that were to go out on the Sabbath. For Jehoiada the priest dismissed not the courses. Moreover, Jehoiada the priest delivered to the captains of 100 spears and bucklers and shields that had been King David's, which were in the house of Yahweh. And he set all the people, every man having his weapon in his hand, from the right side of the temple to the left side of the temple, along by the altar and the temple, by the king round about. Then they brought out the king's son, and put unto him the crown, and gave him the testimony, and made him king. And Jehoiada and his sons anointed him, and said, Yahweh save the king.
So now we see what this is. This is basically a conspiracy, a party that was established to re-establish the proper sons of David onto the throne by putting Joash back on the throne. That's why they brought him to the house of the Lord. Athaliah does not worship Yahweh. Athaliah worshiped idols. She worshiped Baal. So where do you think she's not going to be at? The temple of the Most High, serving the Most High. Where she's not going to be at? She's not going to be at the LOZ. She's going to be at the church, right? So this is the reason why. So where's the safer place they're going to take her to save Joash's life? They're going to take her to the temple. They're going to take him to the LOZ, right? Keep going.
Verse 12. Now when Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and praises the king, she came to the people into the house of the Most High. And she looked, and behold, the king stood at his pillar at the entering in, and the princes and the trumpets by the king, and all the people of the land rejoiced, and sound with trumpets, also the singers with instruments of music, and such as taught to sing praise.
So she's seeing all these people, not just people low, but people high in status. The princes of Israel, the priests, the Levites. She's seeing all of them, and they're all recognizing this young boy as the king of Israel, right? And then her initial thought is what? Keep going.
Then Athaliah rent her clothes and said, Treason.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jehoiada the priest brought out the captains of 100.
It's not treason. They're not going off. She is the one who's going off. You have to, it's like, how can I express it? Think about this. This is what she literally did. First, she controlled her young son. She made sure her son got the throne, which he got from his own father. She used him as a puppet to control Israel. And then when he died, she don't mourn for her son. What she's afraid of is the powers that she won't have anymore. So what she does is kill all her sons, all her grandchildren. She made an attempt to kill all her grandsons just to have the throne and have power in Israel. Think about how crazy that is, right? Think about how, I can't even say the word. Think how crazy of a woman you have to be to do that, right? And then now she's seeing this. She's seeing righteousness being established, the order being put back, and then guess what? Now she's crying out treason. Anybody want to hear that now?
Come on.
Right? Keep going.
Verse 14. Then Jehoiada the priest brought out the captains of 100 that were set over the host, and said unto them, Have a fourth of the ranges, and whoso followeth her, let him be slain with the sword. For the priest said, Slay her not in the house of the Most High.
So when it deals with her, anybody who's following her, it means that anybody who's trying to protect her. Because what they said before is, set over the host and said unto them, have her fourth of the ranges. Well, that deal, have you ever, Officer Musmore, you ever seen a show called, what's it called again? With Will Smith. I forgot what it's called. Bel-Air. Yeah, Fresh Prince. You ever seen Fresh Prince? You ever seen Jazz? You ever seen how they throw? There you go. That's what they're doing to her. They're picking her up, all four people. One arm, one leg, throw her out the temple. Right? And they're saying anybody who's following her, anybody who still acknowledged her as the leader, put that Negro to death. Right? Keep going.
Verse 15. So they laid hands on her, and when she was come to the entering of the horse gate by the king's house, they slew her there.
So they killed her. They killed her and put her to death at the king's house, Joash's house. They put her to death at where his horses are. Right? They put her to death near the animals. Right? This is what she was. She was a low thing because of the evil that she committed. Right? Keep going.
And Jehoiada made a covenant between him and between all the people and between the king that they should be the Most High's people. Then all the people went to the house of Baal and break it down and break his altar and his images in pieces and slew Mathan, the priest of Baal, before the altars. Also, Jehoiada anointed Salakia. Also, Jehoiada anointed the officers of the house of the Most High by the hand of the priests, the Levites, whom David had dis, dis, distributed in the house of the Most High to offer the burnt offerings of the Most High, as it is written in the law of Moses, with rejoicing and with singing, as it was ordained by David.
Mm-hmm.
And he set the porters at the gate of the house of the Most High, that none which was unclean in anything should enter in. And he took the captains of 100s and the nobles and the governors of the people and all the people of the land, and brought down the king from the house of the Most High. And they came through the high gate into the king's house, and set the king upon the throne of the kingdom. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the singing and the city was quiet after that they had slain Athaliah with the sword. Chapter 24.
So now there was peace, right? But go ahead. Now you can go on to the next chapter. Chapter 24.
Joash was 7 years old.
How old is he?
7 years old. When
Who was he again?
7 years old.
This is a 7-year-old man. This is a young man, right? This is a 7-year-old young man about to reign over Israel, right? Keep going.
When he begot to reign, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Zibiah Beersheba. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of the Most High all the days of Jehoiada the priest.
Okay, so who sees a problem with that? Officer Marzamore. Read verse 2 one more time.
Verse 2.
Hey, Captain Okol, can you pass him a mic?
All right. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of the Most High all the days of Jehoiada the priest.
So now, what's wrong with that? Think about it. It's in front of your eyes. Remember, Joash is this young boy, the young boy whose life was saved so that he can continue reigning on the throne of David. Jehoiada, the priest, is the man who saved him, right, and preserved his life. So what's wrong about what's being said here in verse 2? Do you see it?
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure.
No problem. Hold on. Read it one more time.
All right, come on. Verse 2.
Read it slow.
And Joash did that which was right in the sight of the Most High all the days of Jehoiada the priest.
All the days of who?
Jehoiada the priest.
Captain O'Cole got it. Now Muslim War. Officer. You get it? What's wrong about this verse? No problem. I'm going to make it very simple. Think about it. Hold on. You can't say anything. Think about this. I got you. Imagine this. Imagine that I was going to continue teaching my people, teaching classes, teaching my people to keep the commandments until the day you decide to cut your hair. What's wrong with that? The minute you decide to cut your hair, I'm gonna stop teaching my people. The minute you pass away, I'm gonna stop teaching my people. I'm gonna stop teaching the commandments. You see it? I gave it to him. Salakia. Did you see it now? Don't worry about it. Captain O'Cole. Let's see what he got. Let's see his explanation. Let's see what he got. Go ahead.
That's like when we go to school.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when we have substitute teachers, the students, they're in behavior as long as the teacher is there. But once the teacher is gone away, now they start acting up. Now they start drawing on the walls and standing on the tables and doing the Cupid shuffle when there's no music or when the teacher's trying to teach a class.
Surely you have a double portion of the Holy Spirit today, because you gave a better example. Hey, clap it up. All praise to the Most High. You made a perfect example. The problem about this verse is that it said that he's going to do this. He's following the Most High until Jehoiada until in his life. So after he dies, what happens? He ain't going to serve the Most High. He's not going to follow after him. He's finished. He's going to he's going to do his own thing. I mean, he's going to be working. What did our sisters be saying out there? He's going to be working on himself. That's what he's going to be doing after this man dies. Right? Keep going.
And Jehoiada took for him 2 wives and begot sons and daughters. And it came to pass.
Wait, read verse 3 one more time.
Verse 3. And Jehoiada took for him 2 wives, and he begot sons and daughters. And
so what we have to see is that when we're reading about the history and we're looking at these different lives of these kings, pay attention to these verses. Don't read over it. Take your time, read these verses. When you read verse 3, we already see there's a connection between Jehoiada and Joash, right? Jehoiada raised them for 7 years. When you read verse chapter 22, it talks about how Jehoiada's wife, when she saved him from being slaughtered, he was a baby. From a baby all the way to 7 years old, that's how long he was raising him. He raised them among his own sons. He raised them as his son. So Joash is seeing Jehoiada as a father figure. That's his relationship in his life, right? That's why in verse 3 it says Jehoiada took for him 2 wives. Something as a father would do. That's what your father would do for you. So Jehoiada basically has raised him as his own son. So this is the reason why this is a very important detail as we go further. Keep going. All praise the Most High.
Come on. Verse 4. And it came to pass after this that
Where are you?
Verse 4.
Joash.
Yeah, come. And it came to pass after this that Joash was minded to repair the house of the Most High. And he gathered together the priests and the Levites, and said to them, Go out unto the cities of Judah, and gather all Israel money to repair the house of the Most High from year to year, and see that ye hasn't the matter, howbeit the Levites hasn't it not.
Hasten it.
Hasten it.
Mm-hmm.
Not. Con.
Keep going.
And the king called for Jehoiada the chief, and said unto him, Why hast thou not required all the Levites to bring it out of Judah and out of Jerusalem their collection?
The what?
Their collection.
The collection, right? Keep going.
According to the commandments of Moses, the servant of the Most High.
So what was this? This wasn't simplistically a tax. It wasn't a tax to build up the temple of the Lord. What they were doing, collecting the money from the people, this was a commandment from the scriptures. This is law, right? And him telling them, go get this money from the people so you can go build up and maintain the temple of the Lord, and they weren't doing this. He's asking them, why are you prolonging, right? So who remembers what law this is? Chief Minister Solomon mentions this all the time. This man said, never mind. Chief Minister Solomon brings this up all the time. Who remembers? Officer Bunnicott. Hand him the mic. Huh? Read verse 6 one more time.
Verse 6. And the king called for Jehoiada the chief, and said unto him, Why hast thou not required of the Levites to bring in out of Judah and out of Jerusalem the collection?
The what?
The collection.
So this collection is dealing with money. When you read further up in the chapter, it's dealing with money that's being taken from the people to build up the temple of the Lord, which has been broken down by the pagan priests, right? This is being called something as a commandment. What commandment is it from the law? A commandment where you have to take money from the people to build up the temple of the Lord. Nope. Tithes go to Levi. You thinking about my tribe, right? If you're going to speak, use the mic. Whoever got the mic, go ahead. La.
There was a specific offering that we had that was dedicated to to rebuilding or any service of the temple.
What was it? Or give me the precept.
I was
Captain O'Cole, you got the verse? No problem. Give me Ezra. Give me Exodus 30 and 12.
Exodus chapter 30 verse 12.
No, not you. I'm talking about Officer Kazak.
The book of Exodus, chapter 30 and verse 12.
Uh-huh.
When thou takest the sum of the children of Israel after their number, then shalt thou give every man a ransom, for his soul unto the Most High. When thou numberest them, that there be no plague among them, when thou numberest them.
Keep going.
This they shall give every one that passeth among them that are numbered, half a shekel.
What did it say?
Half a shekel.
Chief Minister Solomon always brings this out. He's bringing this up about how we're required, according to the law, to give up our half a shekel for each man. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, doesn't matter if you're a priest, don't matter what your estate is in Israel, you're all required to give half a shekel. Not too much, not too little. You're required to give this much because it's supposed to be an estimate of each and one of you. Right? Keep going.
After the shekel of the sanctuary, a shekel is 20 gerals, and half shekel shall be the offering of the Most High.
Keep going.
Every one that passeth among them that are numbered from 20 years old and above shall give an offering unto the Most High. The rich shall not give more, and the poor shall not give less than half a shekel.
And we see that so much here in America. When they want something to be constructed, they want something to be done, then they're gonna try to whack. They're trying to what's that word? That's that term. Wax. They try to wax the poor. No, wax the rich. Try to wax the rich. No. They try to wax the poor, and they take a little bit from the rich. Right? Keep going. Right. Tax.
The rich shall not give more, and the poor shall not give less than half a shekel. When they give an offering unto the Most High to make an atonement for your souls, and thou shalt take the atonement money of the children of Israel.
Well, so we know that this is money. Keep going, and let's see what it's for.
And shall appoint it for the service of the tabernacle.
For the what?
And appoint it for the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. And it may be a memorial unto the children of Israel before the Most High, to make an atonement for your souls.
So this is something that was required according to law that had to be done. Go ahead. Give him mic if he's responding.
That was one time. I would say one time offering.
Say again?
Um, that was one time.
When you read verse 12, it said this is whenever they number the people. When you read verse 12, it says, when thou takest the sum of the children of Israel after they number, then they shall give every man a ransom of his soul. So whenever it's required for the priest to give the sum of the people, that's when he'll take it. Because remember, this is money that they're taking to maintain the temple of the Lord or the tabernacle at that time. So if it's only one time, how much can they use? What happens if they need to maintain the temple again? Right? So I hope everyone highlighted that precept. But let's get back. 2nd Chronicles.
Second Chronicles chapter 24 and verse 7. And the sons of Athaliah, that wicked woman, had broken up the house of Yahweh, and also all the dedicated things of the house of the Most High did they bestowed upon Balaam. And at the king's commandment, they made a chest and set it without at the gate of the house of the Most High. And they made a proclamation through Judah and Jerusalem to bring it to bring it to the Most High, the collection that Moses, the servant of Yahweh, laid upon Israel in the wilderness. And all the princes and all the people rejoiced and brought in and cast into the chest until they had made an end. Now it came to pass that at what time the chest was brought up unto the king's office by the hand of the Levites, and when they saw that there was much money, the king's scribe and the high priest officer came and emptied the chest and took it and carried it to his place again. Thus they did day by day and gather money in abundance. And the king and Jehoiada gave it to such as did the work of the service of the house of the Most High, and hired masons and carpenters to repair the house of the Most High, and also such as wrought iron and brass to mend the house of the Most High. So the workmen wrought and and the work are perfected by them, and they set the house of Yahweh in his state, and strengthened it. And when they had finished it, they brought the rest of the money before the king and Jehoiada, whereof were made vessels for the house of the Most High, every vessel to minister and to offer, with all the spoons and vessels of gold and silver. And they offer burnt offerings in the house of the Most High continually all the days of Jehoiada.
So now we see that same phrase is being mentioned again. You see? It said all the days of who?
All the days of Jehoiada.
All the days of Jehoiada. So what happens after Jehoiada's a man? As men, we all die. Khan?
Gone.
As men, we all die. So when Jehoiada dies, what's going to happen? Go ahead. Exactly. He's not going to continue in his works. All these things are only continuing because Jehoiada is there. Jehoiada was the priest, the chief priest, the high priest at the time. Jehoiada is the man who raised them. So he's doing all of these things really to please Jehoiada, his father figure. right? Like any old son would do to try to make dad proud, right? So, but when Pops passed away, what happens? He's gonna go into his wickedness, right? Keep going.
Gone. But Jehoiada waxed old and was full of days when he died, and 130 years old was he when he died. And they buried him in the city of David among the kings.
Among the who?
Among the kings.
This is a priest. And because of the works that he did for the children of Israel, they loved him so much they made sure that he was buried in the city of David. And not only that, they buried this priest among the kings. That's how they buried him. Right? Keep going.
Because he had done good in Israel, both toward Yahweh and toward his house. Now after the death of Jehoiada came the princes of Judah and made obeisance to the king. Then the king hearkened unto them, and they left the house of the Most High Yahweh to their fathers, and served groves and idols. And wrath came unto Judah and Jerusalem for this their trespass.
So, they gave him some flattering words. They prostrated themselves. They bowed down. Oh, Joash, the powerful king, Joash, kings of kings. And they gave him all the sweet words. And after that, when they did that, they left because now they're in a good place with King Joash. And when they left, they didn't continue serving the Most High. Joash didn't really want to continue serving the Most High. But he did it because of Jehoiada. When Jehoiada died, there really wasn't anything keeping him from serving the Most High. Right? So, keep going. That's why the first thing they did, when they did that, gave him the pleasing words, they bowed down, they gave him the sweet stuff. The first thing they did was go to serve idols and groves, because that's what they wanted to do. Right? With verse 19.
Verse 19. Yet he sent prophets to them to bring them again unto the Most High. And they testify against them, but they would not give ear.
So now the Most High is sending all these prophets to reprove them, but they're not listening. Keep going.
And the spirit of Yahweh came upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, the
This
priest.
is not the same Zechariah in the book of Zechariah. The book of Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo, the prophet. That's a different Zechariah. But this is Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, the same priest we were just reading about, the one who passed away, right? Keep going. Mm-hmm.
Which stood above the people and said unto them, Thus saith Yahweh.
What did he say?
Why
No,
transgress?
he said, thus saith what?
Thus saith Yahweh.
He said, thus saith Yahweh. So it's not his own words or his emotions or feelings. It's the Most High's word. Keep going.
Why transgress ye the commandments of the Most High, that ye cannot prosper? Because ye have forsaken the Most High, he have also forsaken you.
So before we continue, who remembers the relationship Jehoiada has with King Joash? What was his relationship toward him? Who has the mic? Give him the mic. Give Officer Mazmur the mic. What was Priest Jehoiada's relationship with King Joash?
Khan. He was like a father figure.
He was the father figure.
Khan.
He raised him for 7 years. He took care of him. Now we're reading in verse 20. We're reading about someone else. That's Zechariah. That's the actual son of Jehoiada. And the actual son of Jehoiada is speaking out against Joash. But before we continue that, if Jehoiada was the father figure, what should Zechariah be to Joash? Nice. Gotta put what's that thing? A horse bridle? Gotta put a horse bridle on this guy. But he would have been what to him?
His brother?
He would have been like his brother, his Ak. Remember, Joash was raised by Jehoiada for 7 years. Zechariah was his actual son. So they grew up in the same house. And his brother's telling him that the Most High is angry and frustrated of them turning away from him. Right? But let's see what Jehoiada, let's see if he considered any of these things. Considered his father figure or his brother. Let's see if he considered it. Keep going.
And they conspire against him, and stone him with stones at the commandment of the king in the courts of the house of the Most High.
So the people conspired against Zechariah and they killed him. But it's not because of the people, it's that they did this on the commandment of the king, Joash. So Joash, his quote unquote brother, he didn't look at him as a brother. He went ahead and just killed him just like that. And he didn't consider or have any mercy for his brother Zechariah, for at least Jehoiada's sake, the man who preserved his life. This is what you will call an ungrateful Negro, man. And we as Israelites, we have to beware of having this evil, wicked spirit of being ungrateful, right? It's a very, very evil spirit. Give me Proverbs 20 and 28. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 28. Actually, someone down there, you can give me Proverbs 20 and 28. Give me Matthew's. Someone down there, give me Proverbs 20 and 28. Whoever gets it first, you can read it. Let me see. Matthew chapter 5.
Proverbs chapter 20, verse 28.
Stand up when you read it.
Mercy and truth preserve the king.
What did it say?
Mercy and truth preserve the king.
He didn't have no mercy, and he didn't care about the truth. He cared about what's truth? Officer Bunica, what's truth?
Truth is what is.
I want a precept. Someone give me a precept. Give him the mic so he can get that precept from me. No, you're good. But get that precept, and then I want Bunica to continue what he's saying. Get some. You know what precept I want. You know what I want. Go ahead.
The book of
5 and 7. But go ahead.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119 and verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness. And thy law.
Thy what?
And thy law.
Thy who?
And thy law.
Thy law, come on.
Is the truth.
What is it?
Is the truth.
It's the truth. So now, Officer Bunnigan, continue in the verse you was reading. So now remember, the law is the truth. The truth is the law. Keep going.
Mercy and truth preserve the king.
Uh-huh.
And his throne is upholden by mercy.
So mercy and truth. He didn't have mercy, and he didn't care or give any damn for the law. He only cared about it until Jehoiada died. He didn't care about no mercy because at least if he had mercy, he would care about Jehoiada's son, who was only going on the behalf of the Most High. But he didn't care about none of them, right? Read that verse one more time.
Mercy and truth preserve the king.
Uh-huh.
And his throne is upholden by mercy.
What is it?
And his throne is upholden by mercy.
It's upholden by mercy. And this is so powerful and spiritual for Joash, because it's through mercy that he even got the throne. Because Jehoiada and his wife were so merciful to save his life, that he were able to be able to preserve to even sit on the throne. But now for him to return that mercy, what happened? He bit the hand that fed him. Read that. Matthew 5 and 7.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 7. Blessed are the merciful.
What did it say?
Blessed are the merciful.
What did it say?
Blessed are the merciful.
Blessed are the merciful. Come on.
For they shall obtain mercy.
And we have to remember that for ourselves. This is a lesson for each one of us. That blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. You can't be biting the hand that feeds you and you still expect mercy. That's not how it works. Right? So let's go back. 2nd Chronicles.
Go on.
I remember reading this for the very first time. This story made me sick. It made me sick. But actually, you helping somebody, you save someone's life, and then after you pass away, they kill your son. And then you in the spirit world, now you seeing your son's spirit up there. Wondering what happened. That's evil, man. That's so evil. Go ahead. What was it, 25?
22.
Oh, 24?
Yeah, 24,
Okay.
22.
Go ahead.
2nd Chronicles chapter 24 and verse 22. Does Joash, the king, remember not the kindness which Jehoiada his father have done to him,
He didn't remember the kindness that he gave him. We keep going.
but slew his son?
What did he do?
But slew his son.
And he went ahead and slew his son. Keep going.
And when he died, he said, the Most High look upon it and require it.
The Most High is going to deal with it. All right, keep going.
And it came to pass at the end of the year that the host of Syria came up against him, and they came to Judah and Jerusalem, and destroyed all the princes of the people from among the people, and sent all the spoil of them unto the king of Damascus.
Mm-hmm.
For the army of Syrians came with a small company of men, and the Most High delivered a very great host into their hand, because they had forsaken the Most High Yahweh and their fathers. So they executed judgment against Joash.
Right, and this is all by the will and the power of the Most High. The Most High set all of this up. Give me Psalm chapter 76, verse 6. Psalm 76, verse 6. This is all being set up by the Most High. This is how the Most High is paying him back for the evil which he committed against not only Zechariah, but also by Jehoiada. You know what? You can jump down to verse 10. 76, verse 10.
All right. The book of Psalms, chapter 76 and verse 10. Surely the wrath of man shall praise thee.
What did it say?
Surely the wrath of man shall praise thee.
So how is the wrath of man going to praise the Most High? How is that going to happen? Here, pass him the mic. Let him say that on the mic.
When he execute judgment,
Exactly. Give the brother a hand. When these Syrians came over here, that wrath and evil that they came upon Israel and Jerusalem to fight against Joash, this wrath right here is praising the Most High, because it's paying back the blood that was shed. I mean, he insulted Jehoiada, the priest. He killed Zechariah. This was not going to be forgiven by the Most High. Right? So let's get it. Give me the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 29. This is how the Most High works. It says, surely the wrath of men shall praise thee, but the remainder of wrath shalt thou restrain.
Go on.
Right?
The
Go
book
ahead.
of Sirach, chapter 39 and verse 29.
Mm-hmm.
Fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance.
Keep going.
Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and a sword, punishing the wicked to destruction.
To do what?
Punishing the wicked to destruction.
And that's what the Most High used the Syrians for. He would use the Syrians. The Most High would use the heathens. The Most High would use whoever he well pleased to basically praise himself. Right? So now we can go back to 2nd Chronicles chapter 24. This is the way the Most High is punishing Joash for the evil which he committed.
Verse 25. And when they were departed from him, for they left him in great diseases his own servants conspire against him for the blood of the sons of Jehoiada the priest, and slew him on his bed, and he died. And they buried him in the city of David, but they buried him not in Salaki, and they buried him not in the sculpture of the kings.
Right. So this is interesting. This goes back to what we read in Sirach, not Sirach, in Psalm 76 and 10. That the wrath of man shall praise thee. Right. So these men conspired against Joash and they put him to death. But what did they not do? The next verse in Psalm 76 and 10 is that it says the remainder of wrath is going to be restrained by the Lord. So they sought and killed him, but what did they do? Was it for themselves? They wasn't trying to do what Athaliah did and kill all the people and try to assert themselves in power and authority or get some position. They killed him, but they didn't go ahead and kill his sons, his wives, destroyed his household, try to blot out his seed. The remainder of that wrath was restrained by the Most High. But the Most High wanted to make sure this Negro was going to be put to death. He was not going to continue breathing on the earth for the evil which he committed. That was finished by the Lord. Right? So we can keep going. 26.
Verse 26. And these are they that conspire against him. Zabad, the son of Shemith, and Ammonites, and Jehozabad, the son of Shimrith, a Moabitess. Now concerning his sons and the greatness of the burdens laid upon him, and the repairing of the house of Yahweh, behold, they are written in the story of the book of the kings. And Amaziah, his son, reigneth in his stead. Chapter 25.
Mm-hmm.
Amaziah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehoiadan.
Yeah,
of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Most High, but not with a perfect heart. Now it came to pass, when the kingdom was established to him, that he slew his servants that had killed the king his father. And he slew not their children, but did as it is written in the law in the book of Moses, where the Most High commanded, saying, the fathers shall not die for the children, neither shall the children die for the fathers, but every man shall die for his own sin. Moreover, Amaziah gathered Judah together and made them captains over thousands and captain over hundreds, according to the houses of their fathers, throughout all Judah and Benjamin, and he numbered them from 20 years old and above, and found them 300,000 choice men, able to go forth to war, that could handle spear and shield. He hired also 100,000 mighty men of valor out of Israel for 100 talents of silver. But there came a man of Yahweh to him, saying, O king, let not the army of Israel go with thee, for the Most High is not with Israel, to wit, with all the children of Ephraim.
So this is the reason why a couple weeks ago when we was going over the scriptures, I wanted us to make sure that we always pay attention to the details of all the kings in their lives, right? So who remembers the first king that actually started making an
Idolatry?
No. Alliance. Who first began the alliance with Northern Kingdom? What king began that alliance? Huh? La'a. La'a. There's a lot of them whose name starts with a Jer. So
Jehoshaphat.
who remembers the king? It was Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, remember the man that was with Ahab. Ahab wanted him to go to war with him. That was the beginning of this era where we had at least some level of dealings with Northern Kingdom as their kingdom and our kingdom. Prior to Jehoshaphat, we wasn't dealing with them at all. A lot of times, majority of the time, we were just warring against them. But when Jehoshaphat came on the scene, that's when we started having dealings with Ahab and their kingdom. But the problem with that is that the Most High divided us for a reason. As so long that Northern Kingdom has not been keeping the laws of the Most High, they've just been keeping idolatry. They've forgotten the name of the Most High, forgotten the practices, forgotten the culture, forgotten the laws, forgotten all of that. They let it all go. So many personal dealings when it came to the king of Judah, the Most High did not want them having with Northern Kingdom. All right, and this is a very interesting scene right here in 2 Chronicles 25 and 7. Read it one more time.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 25 and verse 7. But there came a man of Yahweh to him, saying, O king, let not the army of Israel go with thee, for the Most High is not with Israel, to wit, with all the children of Ephraim. But if thou wilt go...
So the Most High is basically saying, don't take them. Don't bring Northern Kingdom with you. You're going to go to war, and be strong, and I'll be with you. But don't take Northern Kingdom with you because these people they're not having faith. They're not relying on faith on me. They're not hoping I will deliver them and give them the battle. They're hoping that Baal is going to give them the battle. They're hoping Ashereth is going to give them the battle. Them two shady golden calves, they're going to give them the battle. Them fake golden calves are going to give them the battle. Right? Keep going.
But if thou wilt go, do it. Be strong for the battle. Yahweh shall make thee fall before the enemy. For Yahweh hath power to help and to cast down. And Amaziah said unto the man of Yahweh, But what shall we do for the 100 talents, which I have given to the army of Israel? For the man of Yahweh answered, The Most High is able to give thee much more than this. Then Amaziah
What did he say? What did the man of God say?
The Most High is able to give thee much more than this.
I remember so many times, as us as Israelites, sometimes we may put our money, invest it, or put it towards certain things we want to get it done. Or we may trust our money in the hands of certain people, and then we find out that those people come up short, and we never see that money again. And I remember something an elder told me is, listen, if you keep stressing about this money, you're gonna spend more time trying to get this money back than the money that you could be making working or focusing on the money that you could be making, right? And I remember the first thing he told me is, just charge it to the game. That's it. Just charge it to the game. That's it. Let it go. Just charge it to the game. You made a mistake. You learn from it. Keep it pushing. So that's basically what the man of God is telling him. Just you gave him the 100 talents. What are you gonna do? What you gonna do? And let's say he say no. What's up? What's gonna happen? Now this war that you're about to go to, it's gonna be prolonged. It's gonna be put on hold because now you got a war with these Hispanics and Native Americans, right? So that's what he's basically telling them. Just put it to the charge, give it to them, let them go. Don't take them to war with you, right? So let's keep it going. Verse 9.
And Amaziah said to the man of Yahweh.
No, verse 10. Verse 10. You read that, yeah.
Then Amaziah separated them to with the army that was come to him out of Ephraim to go home again, wherefore their anger was greatly kindled against Judah, and they returned home in great anger. And Amaziah strengthened himself and led forth his people, and went to the valley of Salt, and smote of the children of Seir,
The children of
Seir.
who? Who's the children of Seir? Who? 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 It's Esau, Khan.
Gone.
So who got that precept? You come in Eli's now, you prove things. You know where you don't have to prove things? The streets. That's where you don't have to prove nothing in the streets. You got a precept? Where's your precept? Camp voice.
The book of Genesis, chapter 36, and verse 18. And these are the sons. No.
Allah. That's verse 8.
Con. Verse 8. Thus, Genesis chapter 36 and verse 8. The water. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
Esau is who?
Esau is Edom.
And that's our oppressor today.
That's right.
That's our friendly neighborhood Caucasian white man living next door to us. Right? That's the man who trying to give us that I see I was about to say it. That's trying to give us the anti-Rona, right? Yeah. So let's keep going.
All right, come on.
So now we know in 2 Chronicles 25 verse 11, this is talking about the so-called Caucasian man and woman and child. This is talking about our oppressor. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And other 10,000 left alive did the children of
Read
Judah.
verse 11 one more time.
11.
Mm-hmm.
And Amaziah strengthened himself and led forth his people and went to the valley of Salt and smote of the children of Seir 10,000.
He killed 10,000 men, woman, and child. Well, 10,000 men, the soldiers. But we don't know how they operate. So, you know, Esau's a coward, so he'll put his woman in the front lines. So you got most likely maybe 10,000 men, women, and children of these Caucasian people running up against us, and we slayed 10,000 of them, right? Read verse 12. Captain McCole, give me 2 Chronicles 25 and 12, and get me in the NLT in the blue letter.
Verse 12.
Right.
And other 10,000 left alive did the children of Judah carry away captive.
So what did they do?
And the other 10,000 left alive did the children of Judah carry away captive.
They led away these other 10,000 Caucasian people, and they brought them into captivity. Right. Let's see what they did with them.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And brought them unto the top of the rock, and cast them down from the top of the rock, that they all were broken in pieces.
Hey, can I get a hallelujah? All praise to the Most High. At least at this point, Amaziah had the spirit of the Most High with them. Because this is what, when you read in the Psalms, you read about David having a perfect hatred.
Come on.
Perfect hatred for those who hate the Most High. This is a perfect example. Amaziah hated our oppressors so much, he just took 10,000 of them and pushed them off a cliff. read it in the NLT for me.
2 Chronicles chapter 25 and verse 12 in the NLT. They captured another 10,000 and took them to the top of a cliff and threw them off, dashing them to pieces on the rocks below.
All praise the Most High. Let's keep going. All praise the Most High. That's why I call perfect hatred. Keep going.
Verse 13. But the soldiers of the army which Anaziah sent back, that they should not go with him to battle, fell upon the city of Judah from Samaria even unto Beth Horon, and smote 3,000 of them, and took much spoil.
Wait, read verse 13 one more time.
Verse 13. But the soldiers of the army which Anaziah sent back, that they should not go with him to battle.
So who is this? Who is it? That's you.
Gone.
Huh? Read verse 13 one more time.
Verse 13. But the soldiers of the army which Anaziah sent back, that they should not go with him to battle.
Who did he send back that they should not go to battle with him? Who? If you're gonna say something, raise your hand so you can pass you the mic. Give him the mic.
Is it the Northern chart?
Huh?
The Northern.
Or you talking about Northern Kingdom?
Northern Kingdom? No.
Con, all praises. Give the brother a hand. This is the people that he sent back. He told them not to go to war with them, right? And it's good that they didn't go to war with them because look what they decided to do. They were angry. Scripture tells us all the time, be angry but sin not. They were angry that they couldn't go to war, but guess what they decided to do? They went back because we were gone. The army of Judah was gone. They decided to go back into the cities of Judah and rob the cities of Judah like a bunch of vagabonds, right? Read it one more time.
The book of Second Chronicles chapter 25 and verse 23. But the soldiers of the army which Anaziah sent back,
The Northern Kingdom, right? Keep going.
that they should not go with him to battle,
Mm-hmm.
fell upon the cities of Judah
Uh-huh.
from Samaria.
From where?
From Samaria,
So we know this is Northern Kingdom. That's where their capital was. Keep going.
even unto Beth Horon, and smote 3,000 of them, and took much spoil.
And they killed the people. Why? Because they're godless. These people were serving idols for so long, they forgot morality. They don't even see it. They weren't seeing us as brothers properly. That's why they didn't see it as anything. We went to war. We're going to war for spoil. We can't go to war now. They already got 10,000. They already have 100 talents. What else do you need? But because they couldn't go to war getting spoils, like, well, we're gonna get some spoil. Best believe that. And while we're gone, they went to our house. They killed 3,000 of our people, and they went ahead and stole our possessions. There's a reason why the Most High told us certain things to do, and this is the reason why we fail so much when we don't listen to the Most High. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
Now it came to pass after that Anaziah was come from the slaughter of the Edomites, that he brought the gods of the children of Seir and set them up to be his gods, and bowed down himself before them, and burned license upon
Incense.
them. Oh, Salaki. And burn incense unto them.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore the anger of the Most High was kindled against Anaziah, and he sent unto him a prophet, which said unto him, Why hast thou sought after the gods of the people, which could not deliver their own people out of their hand?
Isn't that the darndest thing? You killed 10,000 of them, and then you put 10,000 of them and pushed them off a cliff. And how powerful could their gods be when you went over there and you did that, and then you're going to take their gods and worship their gods? How weak can their gods be? But this is what happens when you're not serving the Most High, you're not keeping his laws properly. What happens? Your mind becomes stupid. You do something stupid like this. You obviously defeated, if they have, let's say, they have idols, right? But to them, that's their gods. You obviously defeated the people, and obviously their gods are too weak to do anything against you. But that's the God you decided to worship. That's ridiculous. But I want to say, oh, go ahead, comment.
Right there.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me, this situation, kind of like how our people are today, how we do Black Lives Matter and all these things, but we still, follow or worship the white man, still
Right.
celebrate his pagan holidays and all that stuff. But, we're out here, so-called trying to fight for our people, but we're still, worshiping our oppressors.
That's a good point. I like that one. You know what? Another point I'll add on to is what's ridiculous is when our people, it's 2022, our people are still worshiping Caesar Borgia, that white pedophile Jesus Christ that they worship in the Christian church. They worship him, but that guy didn't even save the so-called Caucasian from this so-called quote-unquote corona. He didn't even save them from that. How many of the people was he actually saving from that? But yet people still want to our people still want to worship that idol. Still want to worship it. He's not even saving his own people. And he's gonna save you so-called black and Hispanics? Crazy out of your mind, man. Listen, I want to say, by Shem, Amasiak Yahushai, the water from Yad, Aman. Let's clap it up. All praise to the Most High. This is a good class. It won't be quick. It's going to be very quick. Officer Martin, what we should learn from this class? Captain Oko, don't worry, take your time.
Khan, one of the things that I took away from today's class is going over, you have to, essentially you have to have a reason for why you're doing something. So you can't do it to please men, as the scripture says. You can't do it to please men. You have to do it for the Most High, actually, I like how Judah Moray put it. We have to have that vision in mind. So if that vision disappears, where are we going to go after that? What are we going to do after that? So now that the vision is something that's going to be consistent and it won't ever change, like striving for the crown of righteousness. That's not going to change. No one can take that away. It's not going to evaporate it's not going to be moth-ridden or rust-corrupted.
That's a good point. I like that one. That's a good point. I mean, because what he's referring to is the same way Joash was only doing all these righteous things until Jehoiada died, right? You can't be right. You can't be doing righteous things for the Most High or keeping His commandments just for another man or another person. You have to be doing it for yourself, right? But go ahead. That was a good point.
Okay. So, I think one thing that really stuck out to me was the Psalms, the 76 and 10, where it specifies that the Most High uses, the wrath of men. That's what, that's how He gets His praise. So, just thinking about that, that kind of really stands out to me, and that's,
All praise to the
I
Most
love
High.
that scripture.
That's a good scripture. Zakia, powerful Levite.
I would say I learned that we've been in war with Esau for a very long time. It looks like an ever-end battle, but I think, and I can see too. It's gonna be. Only way for us to keep to win, we have to to be in one accord with by like following the commandment and do what please the Most High.
Come on, all praise the Most High. Hallelujah. So I want to say all praise to the Most High. We're gonna stand to face the east, and we're gonna set up this prayer so we can hit these streets and teach our people. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Who's the power?
Yahweh's the power.
Who's the power?
Yahweh's the power.
By Shem?
Yahweh Shai.
By Shem?
Yahweh Shai.
Psalms 133 in Lashon Korash. Repeat the Hebrew.
Shiyar,
Shayar,
Hamaiwaf,
Hamaiwan,
Ladawad,
Ladawan,
Hana,
Hana,
Ma,
Ma,
Tawab,
Tawam,
Wama,
Arman,
Nayam,
Nayam,
Shabaf,
Shabbat,
Akim,
Hakim,
Gum,
Gam,
Yakud,
Yachad,
Kashaman,
Hashamad,
Hatawab,
Atawam,
Aya,
Al,
Hayarash,
Haraash,
Yorad,
Yorad,
Aya,
Al,
Hazakwan,
Hazakwan,
Zukwan,
Zakwan,
Haharan,
Haran,
Shayarad,
Shoyran,
Aya,
Al,
Paya,
Paya,
Madawafwa,
Wafiwan,
Kato,
Kato,
Koromron,
Kamwamwan,
Shayarad,
Shoyran,
Aya,
Al,
Haraya,
Haraya,
Tazawan,
Taziawan,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Shum,
Sham,
Tazawa,
Tazawad,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Af,
Af,
Habraka,
Harakan,
Kayayam,
Ayam,
Ay,
Ayad,
Hiwawam,
Iwam,
Bahashim,
Hashem,
Amashiach Yahushai,
Masiak Yahushai,
the water,
Kawada,
Damyad,
Famyan,
Aman.
Aman. Psalms 133 in English. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there Yahweh commanded a blessing, even life forevermore. By Hashem Mashiach Yahushai, the water from Yad Aman.
Aman.
Aman. Give play hands on Most High. Shalom to the nation of Israel. All praise to the Most High. Another Friday history class every week at 8 p.m. between 8 p.m. to 8:30. That's usually when our Friday history class will begin. It's either myself, Captain Manzazak, or Bishop Lapal of the Light of Zion. And standing next to me is
Officer Kazak from the Light of Zion.
all praise to the Most High. So we're about to hit the streets. We're about to teach our people. And now, tomorrow at 12 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., we're going to be having our Shabbat service, which is usually led by our Chief Minister, Shalomam. So hopefully for many brothers and sisters those watching us live, maybe you'll be encouraged to come see us and visit us and actually keep the Shabbat with us. So I want to say shalom to the nation of Israel. Hallelujah.